Hey everyone, I'm Ashlee Banks, and you're going to learn more about me right here on the Audio Infusion Green Room Sessions. So, during the pandemic, it was a really hard time for a lot of us. I want to say around the world, but especially here in the US. A lot of people were losing their lives. People lost their jobs. I was teaching at the time and schools closed, and so I lost my job. And there was a time where I kind of just felt hopeless. But I was spending a lot of time in prayer and just asking God for direction. And I remember God showing me that one day I was going to be working with Roland Martin. And I thought it was really weird because I was not applying to anything that Roland was doing. But I said okay. And I kept that memory, or what God had showed me, kind of in the back of my head. Fast forward a few months later, my best friend Rose saw a job opening to be an executive producer for election night for Roland Martin in 2020. And I said to her, I can apply, but I'm a reporter, also executive producer. I haven't really been an executive producer. So I applied anyway. And I had an interview with someone who had worked with Roland for quite some time. And they informed me that they were actually coming back just to be the executive producer for the election night, but said to me that Roland wanted me to come on as a reporter. And I said, perfect. That's what I can do anyway. That's what I've been doing for years. Absolutely. And so I worked with Roland for a long night. It was the election night. We worked until about 4 in the morning. It was rewarding, given the fact that, I lost my job and that year, and I'd gone through so many changes that year. It just felt like my life was getting back on course as God told me it would. And so after reporting for Roland that day, I asked Roland if there were any openings with his network, and he told me that not necessarily, but he actually contacted me a week later to invite me back and to be his executive producer. And so I worked with Roland for quite a while, just helping him put his show together. I led his entire team, creating a rundown for each one of his shows. I would then line, produce, and technically direct all of his shows. And when he wasn't there, I would fill in hosts for him, which I thought was really cool. You get to fill in hosts for Roland Martin. And so I really did enjoy that venture, but it had to come to a close because I started law school, which is something that I wanted to do for a very long time. In 2022, I reconnected with Faraji Muhammad, who used to be a host at WEAA. He is now hosting a show called The Culture on Roland's network, which is the Black Star Network. And so I've been working with Faraji for quite a few months now. I contribute a lot to a show whenever there's breaking news or a major story that's taking place. He loves to read some of the articles that I work on and then wants to have me come on the show to enlighten his listeners and his audience of what's going on, whether it be in Washington, D.C. or abroad. But Faraji and I have a pretty good working relationship as it pertains to the work that we're both doing in our community. So I've been working for the Grio for about 9 months now, and I have to say I absolutely love it. I was recently promoted to be the Capitol Hill Supreme Court, congressional and DOJ reporter, and I also cover the White House. Reporting for me is something that I feel like I can't live without. It's been a passion of mine for a very long time. I love storytelling. I'm a truth seeker, so I love uncovering the truth so that people are aware of what's going on around them. I recently went to the Supreme Court this week, where I got to hear oral arguments in a very important case. But it was so surreal for me to be in the Supreme Court, a place where you can't have any electronics, so you can't really document it. You have to use your memory, rely on your memory to really just take everything in and remember everything you saw. But it just felt really good to be in a space where I could witness the first Black female justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson. argue, essentially, listen to oral arguments, but also interrogate both sides of the arguments to try to get the truth out so that she and the other 8 justices could decide what they need to when it comes to rendering a decision on the case. But it felt so good being in a space where you can see progression taking place within the Supreme Court and within the United States as a whole. But I really enjoy my job. I love being able to go to the White House, to cover the White House press briefings, to cover random events that take place. For instance, last month, Steph Curry and his team, they were invited to the White House because they won their championship, and it was just so cool to be in the same space as Steph Curry or some of the other people that get recognized by the president and the vice president. I'm really blessed and thankful to be in the spaces that I'm in. I really feel like I'm able to fulfill my calling in life. I think I've had a lot of memorable moments over the course of my life and over the course of my career, but I do want to say recently I had the opportunity to virtually meet Idris Elba, Mr. Wire. And so April Ryan was going to be interviewing him, and I had to get him prepped for the interview. And so he started speaking in his British accent that most of us love. And I introduced myself to him and simply said, "My name is Ashlee Banks. Nice to meet you, Idris Elba." And I wanted to tell him how much of a fan of his that I was, even talk about some of the work I've seen of his. And he then talks about me, and he's just like, "Ashlee Banks, I feel like I know that name from somewhere." And I'm just like, "Yeah, Fresh Prince." And he's like, "Yep, that's it." And I just thought it was so funny that I was having this casual conversation with Idris Elba about my name when I had this whole script planned out about what I wanted to say to him. But I just loved his energy. I enjoyed the fact that he just seemed so down to earth, and was somebody who wasn't, we'll say, self-centered, but somebody who wanted to connect with the person that he had no idea who I was. He could have kept quiet. He could have been like, "Where's April Ryan?" But he decided to have a conversation with me and be there in that moment, and I really enjoyed that. All right, when it comes to future plans, right now I'm a law student at the University of Baltimore, and I am going to be graduating in 2025, so that's about 2 years from now. And I do hope to pass the bar and become a criminal attorney. My goal essentially is to operate in a way in which I can help lessen sentences for people that look like me. And when I say lessen sentences, find alternatives where they don't have to spend time in jail, because so many people are being found guilty for petty crimes, end up spending so much time in jail. By the time they get out, they don't have lives. And it's not right, it's not fair. The criminal justice system is not a justice system. It's very unjust for people who look like me, and so I really want to see justice served for my community. I would like to take this time to thank God. Without God, none of this would be possible. I mean, I wouldn't be alive today without him, let alone having a flourishing career. So I really do thank God for his patience, for his grace, and for his vision on my life. I want to thank Derek Fletcher. Derek Fletcher is somebody who has been instrumental in my entire career. If Derek didn't give me a chance working at WEAA, I'm not sure which avenue I would have had to take. So I really do thank Derek for jump-starting my career and helping me get to the next level. I want to thank my best friend, Sinead Rhodes. She's been someone who has encouraged me throughout the years. I've really needed to lean on her at different times, and so I'm so thankful that God put her in my life. I thank God for my family. My family from day one has instilled in me what it means to go after what you want, to be successful, to go to school, do well, to have your ducks in a row to get to where you need to be in life. And so I'm thankful that my grandparents and my parents really led by example. They didn't just talk the talk, they led by example, and they were there holding my hand every step of the way to make sure that I had everything I needed to be successful in this life. And I just want to thank my friends. I want to thank other people who have been here on this journey with me, who have been here genuinely to just watch me and to give me advice, to critique me when necessary, but to help me to stay on the path that I was designed to be on.
Thanks for watching. Hi, this is Sherry with the Audio Infusion. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can be notified when new videos arrive.